I haven't done a Clash of the Elite theory or speculation video, and that's mainly due to the fact that there's just a lot of theories and speculations that a lot of people have about this series. However, I'm starting to now want to make videos talking about certain theories of Clash of the Elite or things that might happen in the near future with the series. And what better way to start than talking about the speculation that a lot of people have been having involving Ayanokoji and Kei, and that is, what if Kei decides to break up with Ayanokoji? There's been a lot of speculation and there's been so many theories as to when this will happen or if it even will happen at all, but because of the recent volume, that being Second Year Volume 9, this has gotten more people to speculate that it most likely might happen. Now of course this is all just speculation and theories, so take this with a grain of salt, because there's something I learned about Clash of the Elite is that you should expect the unexpected with this series. I mentioned in my Second Year Volume 9 video, in which I was talking about what I thought about the recent volume, in which I talked about how I would love to see a fight between Kei and Ichinose, as both these girls have strong feelings for Ayanokoji. If you are up to date with the series, you would know that Kei and Ayanokoji are in a relationship. Meanwhile, Ichinose in the most recent volume has pretty much announced that she's going to do whatever it takes to be by Ayanokoji's side. And I wouldn't mind if the story goes on the route in which we see Kei do whatever it takes to make sure that Ayanokoji doesn't leave her, showing us her determination to not lose Ayanokoji. However, if the story were to go as many people have been speculating, in which Kei decides to break up with Ayanokoji, then that would be a very interesting thing to read, because that will be some very interesting character development for not just Kei, but as well for Ayanokoji. And that is because in the most recent volume, we have seen that Ayanokoji and Kei's relationship isn't going great at all right now. Clearly, because of the things that have been happening between Ayanokoji and Ichinose, obviously this is something that Kei has been worried about, and that is because she doesn't want another girl to steal Ayanokoji from her. But at the same time, like many people have speculated, what if Kei reaches a breaking point? What if Kei gets tired of Ayanokoji not being honest with her? Which I know some people are going to get confused as to why that even is possible, since we all know that Ayanokoji isn't the type of person to be honest or show his true intentions or feelings. But you have to keep in mind that Kei and Ayanokoji have been together for a good while now, and obviously from Kei's point of view, by now they should be honest with each other and should not really hide anything that could ruin the relationship. But what if there's a certain point in which Kei is getting tired of being kept in the dark? What if she is getting tired of Ayanokoji not revealing any of his plans or his true intentions, especially what he's planning on doing between him and Ichinose? Another thing that a lot of people have also pointed out in the most recent volume is how Ayanokoji seems to be very confident that no matter what he does, it doesn't matter, because Kei is always going to be by his side. No matter what he does or what he says to her, he believes because Kei is so attached to him, she would never leave him. I mean, there was even this one part in volume 9 of Second Year in which Ayanokoji states how the fight that they had between each other could have ended quickly had he just told her that she's the most important person to him and that he only cares about her. But he chose not to, because he wants to see where this is all going to go, which once again you can interpret this as him being 100% confident that no matter what happens, Kei is always going to be by his side. But as the volume goes on, he starts to notice that there hasn't been any interactions with Kei quite recently. In fact, Kei hasn't reached out to him to try to solve the situation between each other, which for him it was kind of surprising, because he was expecting Kei to try to patch things up very quickly so they could continue with their relationship. However, that was not the case for a while. Some people are going to view this as not really something worth mentioning, but I think this is something really important, as you can interpret this moment as Ayanokoji wanting Kei to actually reach out to him, wanting Kei to pay attention to him. It's almost as if Ayanokoji wanted to see how much Kei truly liked him and how strong her feelings were towards him. Now you may be saying that if they do go on the route in which Kei breaks up with Ayanokoji, when will that most likely happen? Well, my guess is that this most likely will happen if Kei sees Ayanokoji and Ichinose spending way too much time together alone. Or in the other scenario, we see Ichinose trying her hardest and being full on determined to make sure that Ayanokoji only focuses on her. And it could be at this point in which Kei sees Ayanokoji and Ichinose once again alone and Ichinose trying to do stuff, and at that point she has had enough. We then get a scene in which Kei most likely confronts both Ayanokoji and Ichinose, but it seems that she's mostly mad at Ayanokoji than Ichinose, for obvious reasons of course. And while Ayanokoji may try to downplay the whole situation or tell Kei that there was nothing going on between him and Ichinose, of course, since Kei is already at her breaking point, she has had enough with Ayanokoji's statements, and at that moment decides to break up with Ayanokoji. Of course, this shocks Ayanokoji, as he couldn't believe that the person that he thought that would always be by his side, who always always needed him, who always relied on him, decided to end the relationship between them. And I think that will be some really interesting character development for Kei, as it goes to show us, not just for Ayanokoji but also for the viewers as well, is that Kei is no longer a parasite. I think that's something that a lot of people have still been talking to this day, is that fact that this relationship between Ayanokoji and Kei could still be considered Kei just still being a parasite and just being attached to Ayanokoji. And I see where people are coming from. Me personally, I don't think that's the case, because there have been many cases in which it shows that Kei is a very strong person, since she has shown that she has a lot of talent, and even Ayanokoji himself has stated that because of Kei's talents, that makes her a very valuable person to have. But at the moment Kei breaks up with Ayanokoji, at first Ayanokoji might interpret this as all going according to plan, as he wanted Kei to finally do things on her own. He didn't want to see Kei just do things just based on him and him alone, and wanted Kei to become an even stronger person than she already is. But as time goes on, maybe Ayanokoji starts to have a feeling that he's never felt before. As he starts to wonder what these feelings are, he starts noticing very quickly that after his breakup, he's been thinking about Kei more lately than he already has, which is something that's so surprising for him, because he's never really thought of Kei that much in his mind until quite recently. Not only that, but all the things that they used to do, like walking home from school or walking school from home, are things that they never do anymore if they were to break up. Not only that, but Kei doesn't visit him anymore in his apartment, and whenever they do cross paths, maybe Ayanokoji realizes that Kei has pretty much moved on. She no longer thinks of him as something important or somebody that she needs to rely on every single time. And there could be a moment that will make it really interesting, in which people in his class, mostly the people that are always around him, notice something wrong with him, as not only does he start looking like a mess, but his priorities are all over the place. Maybe Ayanokoji starts to realize that he's not been thinking about his plans quite recently, because he's been thinking about some other things. And once again, has no idea why he's acting the way he's acted, because he's never acted like this ever in his life. And this could be the moment where we realize that even though Ayanokoji is very smart and a very strong person, the one thing that he's never been able to understand is human emotion. There have been many moments in this series in which it is clearly shown that Ayanokoji does have emotions, but he always tends to hide them and not reveal them to anybody whatsoever. And at that moment, something clicks. Ayanokoji now wonders if the feeling that he's been having all this time, the reason why he's been acting the way he's been acting, is because of one feeling that he never thought would he ever face, and that is sadness. It was at that moment that Ayanokoji starts to realize and remember every moment that he had with Kei. While they both had their highs and lows, he starts to realize that every time they spent with each other, he was always comfortable around her. He could always express what he always expresses around her, and she would never judge his emotions or what he was feeling at that moment. At that point, Ayanokoji realizes that the only person who was able to share the same darkness as him was none other than Kei. Kei knew what darkness was like, because she's been through a lot like himself as well. Now that he's realizing it, she was the only person that could ever understand how he truly feels and why he acted the way he acted, because she's always been like that as well. It was at that moment that he decides to take action. He leaves his apartment, not realizing that the clouds are gray and it's about to rain. But as the rain keeps pouring, Ayanokoji keeps running. In his head, he's wondering, why is he even doing this? In his head, he's saying that he would never be the kind of person to be doing this, yet here he is now running in the rain towards the person he needs to see the most. Once he reaches his destination, he knocks on the door. He hears somebody coming at the door, but they're very slow to answering the door, but eventually they do open it, and it's none other than Kei. Kei is at first surprised, but then continues on by saying, "What do you want?" It was at that moment that Ayanokoji started to realize that he couldn't even talk. For some reason, the words weren't coming out of his mouth. Kei waited for a bit, but eventually told him to come inside since he was getting all wet from the rain. Ayanokoji obeys, and then once they're in the room, Ayanokoji notices just how well neat her room is. However, Kei just gets straight to the point and asks him once again, what does he want? At that point, Ayanokoji turns around, looks her directly in the eyes, and says, "I'm sorry." Kei is confused and asks what he's sorry about, and Ayanokoji says, "Everything. I'm sorry for hurting you." To which Kei obviously is shocked and surprised, and her eyes starts to become wide open. To which Ayanokoji continues saying, "Look, there are so many things that I would like to talk to you about more honestly, and I wish I could say everything about myself more honestly, but right now is not the moment. But what I'm about to say next is going to be 100% the truth, and that is, I miss you." At that moment, Ayanokoji sees Kei running towards him and hugging him tightly. "You idiot. Sometimes it's so frustrating to not know what you're actually thinking, but I think this moment it made me realize that you were 100% being honest." Ayanokoji responds saying, "And how is that?" And Kei responds by saying, "You were actually talking like a human being." At that moment, something came up in Ayanokoji's mind, if that was what it truly takes to be a normal human being. He understood the basic concept of being a human being. However, he now wonders if emotions make people human, but for now, he's gonna put that aside as he now wants to ask the other thing that he's always been wanting to say to Kei. "Kei, does that mean you forgive me?" To which Kei responds smiling saying, "Well, duh, why do you think I'm hugging you? But for confirmation, once again, Ayanokoji asks another question. Kei, do you want to get back together? And Kei looks straight into Ayanokoji's eyes and says, you know what's going to happen the next time you try to do this again? To which Ayanokoji responds saying, I know, don't worry, I'll make sure that doesn't happen ever again. To which Kei responds saying, then I accept. As Ayanokoji is hugging Kei, he notices very quickly that this is how they hugged when they were first going out, when he confessed his feelings towards her in his apartment. In his mind, all he could say is going full circle again, huh? But he didn't pay close attention to that because all he could care about is having the person that he values mostly by his side. And that is how I would write the route if Kei was to ever break up with Ayanokoji. Of course, this isn't perfect, and I know there's going to be other people who are going to write this scenario more differently and probably more better than me, but this is just my interpretation, how I want things to happen if Kei was to ever break up with Ayanokoji. This would be some great character development, not just for Kei, but for Ayanokoji as well, as this could show Ayanokoji that there are things in life that are very precious, and once you don't have those things, you start to feel empty, and I'm hoping that that's something that does happen in the story eventually. Of course, once again, the story is very unpredictable. We don't know what's going to happen in the next volume, so take this with a grain of salt. And yeah, that's the entire video. Look forward to other Classroom Delete speculation / theory videos. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.